Hello there, hollows, and welcome to another video. So in this video I'm going to be talking about my initial thoughts on Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon, which just dropped literally a few hours ago, and this is my initial impressions after playing the game for a couple of hours, and that's it. It's just my opinions after a few hours. I am someone going into this who is a massive fan of the Dark Souls franchise, as well as Bloodborne, Elden Ring, Demon Souls, Soulslikes, and all that kind of stuff. But I've also dabbled in shooters and third-person shooters as well in the past, and I've quite enjoyed quite a few of them. Armored Core is not a franchise that ever interested me. When I was younger, the previous entries or anything like that about Armored Core 6 of course grabbed my interest because it's the first new Armored Core game since they've really properly focused on the Dark Souls franchise, and since you'd say they've become a critically acclaimed developer that is incredibly respected and has a very high reputation now. And Armored Core 6 I did not think was going to be for me, honestly, going into it. I had a lot of good hopes because I'm thinking, yes, okay, you know, they really... I had high hopes because they've been very, very good recently. FromSoftware, they've had a great track record, and so I thought Armored Core, they wouldn't have returned to the franchise unless they had an idea and a vision. And Hidetaka Miyazaki was a supervisor on the project, and so of course I was going to be thinking, yeah, Hidetaka Miyazaki, he knows what he's talking about. And he does. I have to say, he knows what he's doing, and Armored Core 6 is a good game. I'm very happy to say that. I'm incredibly happy to say that this is a good game that I am enjoying, and it is appealing to me, and I actually really am enjoying it. And it's something about FromSoftware nowadays. They have this charm. There's something they do which really does captivate me somehow. And Armored Core 6 is one of those things where, like, you know, that usually that kind of sci-fi futuristic mech stuff would never interest me. But I'm at the point where I'm like, I'm focusing on the story, I'm focusing on the characters, the cutscenes and things, which I never thought I would do in a game like this. FromSoftware just have this way of taking something I wouldn't normally enjoy, which is what originally happened with Dark Souls. Honestly, I did not look at Dark Souls and think, yes, this looks like a great game I really want to play. But it was the gameplay, the world, something about the style of what they do that managed to grip me. And Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon is exactly the same. But I wouldn't just say it's that, though. They've managed to make the gameplay feel good to control. And at first, it did, you know, it's very different to Dark Souls. The movement, it's entirely different. The way you sort of dash and you've got to sort of hover in the air and focus on this. And there's a lot of micromanagement as well, which I've really found. It took me time to get used to, I'd say. But then when I did get used to it and it all sort of started working, I found myself having a really good time with Armored Core 6. Now, the one thing that I think is a concern in my first few hours of gameplay is just how hectic and bullet stormy the game kind of feels. And what I mean by that is just this, you know, bullet hell is what I mean. Like, there's so many bullets on screen for you to sort of dodge sometimes that I find it's a bit crazy, and it's a bit very, like, for me personally anyway, I think it might be a little bit too fast and stuff for me to properly, you know, be able to get very good at, just because, you know, I'm good at Dark Souls 3 and Elden Ring and everything, but Sekiro was never really, I just found it was just a bit too much, too crazy and everything, you know. I mean, not that I was, you know, anyway, don't roast me in the comments, please. But anyway, but I've been enjoying my time with this game, and honestly, the gameplay feels good, the controls feel tight and responsive for what the game's going for, and you do feel like you really are controlling a mech whilst also still managing to actually do everything you want to do. And you feel, you know, the controls feel weighty, it doesn't feel floaty like some games do, which is what I was thinking it might do at first. But it all does, it feels very good. And the controls are responsive, the bosses and everything are very good. And that's the main thing that I like here, is that it has a bit more of that Dark Souls structure to it, where it's like you fight through some levels and then there's a boss. And I like that. The only thing that I'd say I don't necessarily like is what I forget from the very beginning, that the level design isn't really like a Souls. Of course, it's structured very differently, so why should it be? It's an Armored Core game, it's not a Dark Souls game. But still, I don't tend to prefer that mission structure as much in games, and I find that it does sort of take me out of it a little bit and makes the games a little bit more repetitive and less in-depth and engrossing, because you don't feel engrossed and lost in a world when you're being taken out of it repeatedly in a mission type structure. So that's one thing that I'm not as big a fan of, I'd say. The other thing is also that the game doesn't have like a proper checkpoint, well, like a bonfire system. But of course, again, it wouldn't. People did start criticizing me in a video before, saying that I was expecting too much comparing Armored Core to Dark Souls, but I'm not saying it has to be like Dark Souls, am I? I'm just saying that I think for it to appeal to me, there are certain things I would like and prefer over others. However, I'm still really enjoying Armored Core 6, despite it not having some of these systems, like how, when you're in a boss fight, you can press restart last checkpoint when you die, and then you are put straight into the boss fight again. Which, is something that I tend to not like. It's convenient, yes, but you're less engrossed in the world and everything. The levels don't have that same Dark Souls feeling, when you got to go and defeat this enemy setup multiple times because the enemies respawn when you die. The game doesn't really have that, but that's okay. It's a different experience, and I'm okay with that. And the game has gripped me in its own way, which I'm enjoying, and the gameplay is good enough, the bosses are good enough, and the world is pulling me in, like FromSoftware tend to have this way of doing with their games. And I do think Armored Core 6, I'm happy to say, will probably appeal to Dark Souls fans and Elden Ring fans. That's the main thing that I was concerned about, was that I'd play the game and it just wouldn't. There'd just be something that was off about it. And honestly, I have to say, so far, I am enjoying Armored Core 6 more than Sekiro. Might be heresy to some of you people, but Sekiro is never a game that grabbed me. The Japanese setting, I just really didn't like that setting mainly, and just the game, I don't know. But anyway, this is an Armored Core 6 video. It's not a Sekiro video. But regardless, Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon. There'll be more videos coming from this game on the channel. So let me know down below if you're playing Armored Core 6, if you started playing it, and what kind of things you would like to see me cover regarding Armored Core 6 on the channel. I'm still going to keep doing Dark Souls videos, of course, but Armored Core 6 is an awesome game, and I always support FromSoftware because all their games are always worth supporting. So there's going to be more Armored Core videos on this channel. Again, let me know down below what you want to see, and if you enjoy this video, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, maybe share the video with anything. If it was good enough, thank you again for watching. This is Soul signing out. Have a good one.